abortion when I was a little girl growing up was about choice and freedom and female empowerment. And it still represents that to many, many Americans, the right to choose when you become a mother. But you have to also understand that this is before the age of apps, like cycle tracking apps. Like, we have so many now tools to track which days we're likely to get pregnant. We have so many tools for birth control. And then I look at the issue of abortion and I'm like, it has been completely politicized. It was politicized by Trump to win an election. And then it was politicized by Biden now to win an election back, or, through abortion. So you have this incredibly politicized environment about women's, pro-life or pro-choice. And the reality is we're talking about women in almost the abstract. And so when I come in as a woman, as a mother, and I'm looking at the fact that we have men talking about this as campaign platforms, and then I look at the reality on the ground, I think to myself, okay, what are let's go back to the fundamentals of pro-choice. If there's an accidental pregnancy and you're a teenager and you're terrified, and you need support, you absolutely should have support. That support should provide guidance on what's going on in your body, support socially. If you want to have the baby, support economically. Angela Stanton King has been involved in Bobby's campaign, and she's a pro-lifer, and she has put together these wonderful resources for women in the community who want to have the baby, because those resources don't exist from the government. And so then you look at the abortion clinics, many of which are in low-income neighborhoods, and we're investing in those at a far higher rate than we're investing in ending the cycle of poverty in those neighborhoods. And you clearly see there's an issue here. And so when I think about pro-choice, I think about it as objectively as possible as a woman, understanding what those moments are like. And we have to meet women where they are rather than politicizing them and turning it into campaign talking points.
Sure. I mean, but your numbers, like in New York City last year, there were more Black babies aborted than born.
That is horrible.
And unfortunately, and then you know this, but not everybody knows the history of even Planned Parenthood, and Margaret Sanger, and on record saying that she wanted to have less brown babies and Black babies around. I mean, the root of Planned Parenthood, which happens to be the biggest, arguably, I don't know, agency where people think to go if they want to terminate, which they do other women's reproductive care and health care things there, but unfortunately because of their stance and how they've chosen to handle abortion, how it was created, how that company was created, the hatred behind it is what, honestly, people like me really, really struggle with. And at the end of the day, it's interesting, the political side of it, because you have one side that says, okay, do what you want up until birth and maybe even after. Do whatever you want. And then you have the pro-life side that says never, never, never. I believe Nikki Haley said on the floor at the Milwaukee, that first Republican debate, maybe it was the second one, but when she said, listen, we have to find somewhere in the middle, because the conservative side is never going to agree with full on go for it, kill everybody. And of course vice versa, where we say there's no abortion. And so what is that middle ground? To me though, I spoke to Bobby about this, and at the end of the day, he says, yes, this is a woman's choice, period. And I said, even up till birth? And yes was his answer. And so to me, it's always a woman's choice. It's always a woman's choice, even up to.
This is why I think women need to be having this conversation.
Women are, but we are, and that's why you're a vice presidential candidate. But so far, listen, whether it's Biden, Trump, who's been in office before.
Yeah.
Obviously, women are considered and part of these discussions.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's too late. It's already political. So what do we do to try to find that middle ground? Because
Mm-hmm.
neither side is going to agree to the opposite extreme.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we come into the middle? Because I don't. I'm
Well,
not voting for anybody who says go for it up till birth.
No,
I won't
God,
do
no.
that.
No. And that is not Bobby's position as I understand it. My understanding with Bobby's position is that, every abortion is a tragedy,
Yes,
is a
said that.
loss of life. My understanding is that he absolutely believes in limits on abortion, and we've talked about this. I do not think. I don't know where that came from,
He just very clearly said, because I pushed, and I'm like, wait, up till, he said, it should always be a woman's choice, always, even up until that moment. And that is where anyone who says that, well, you're going to lose a lot of people, because that full term option is something that that is just scary.
Well, here's my understanding on his position. That is not my understanding of his position, and I think maybe there was a miscommunication there. But I think what he's saying is that it should always feel like a woman's choice.
Yes, sure.
To the final moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're forcing a woman to have a baby, that is a very painful situation for that woman to be in. What you need to do is create an environment in which that woman realizes this is a beautiful opportunity to become a mom and to welcome a new life into this world, and that it is the most sacred, wonderful thing. And the only way you're going to get there is if we stop terrifying women because they're feeling like they're unable to step into that role of motherhood, or because they're fearful of giving birth. Because I remember I was terrified. But that moment leading up to having my daughter is so scary.
Crazy.
So when you put in these resources that make you realize this is like one of the most spiritual, beautiful experiences you're ever going to have in life, and you look around your healthcare and you're like, I trust you to bring this. I trust you to keep me alive as I go through this tantamount experience. And this is going to be full of beauty, and you are supported as a mother. I think that's what Bobby means. I think Bobby means, it should always feel like you're moving into this moment on your own accord. And that's the kind of society I think we all want to live in. That you're moving into this moment.
And the mental, it's the mental health aspect overall in general, where when there's education and when it's done, here are your options, and there's no information being held back, and there's no pushing one way or another. Yes. And I do, and at the end of the day, listen, this is why this issue will never go away. And then when do we consider the baby? And I'm not necessarily asking you that at this moment. I'm just saying it is.
And the science is changing around that all of the time. And I always thought about it in terms of viability. And that is becoming earlier and earlier. So the science changes as our medical industry changes. And I think at the end of the day, we always have to remember that this birth and childbirth needs to be something that we only project love and power and care into.
Yeah.
And
I agree in the viability thing. Hey, it's good. That means that we have made medical advances to, wow, when a baby's born at 24 weeks, God forbid, the science has evolved to the point that we can give this baby a chance and this mother and father a chance to have, and so that's beautiful that the science has evolved. I look at the viability, certainly, and it's still low chances if they're born that early of survival and of not having, major issues. But I know you.
And the chance to thrive. I think viability